Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the book of Isaiah. And trust me, it's got this surprising way of still being incredibly relevant. We're going to explore, with a little help from the work of Dr. Marv Wilson, how this ancient text continues to pop up in places you'd least expect.
So let's just jump right in with a question. You've probably said this phrase a million times, a drop in a bucket. But have you ever actually stopped to think, where did that come from?
Well, believe it or not, it comes from right here, the book of Isaiah, written almost 3,000 years ago. It's kind of wild, right? It's just a perfect little example of how deeply Isaiah's words are woven into the very fabric of our world, even today.
To really get why this book has had such staying power, we have to go back. We need to understand the world it was born into. And let me tell you, this wasn't some peaceful, quiet time. This was a message born from absolute crisis.
The people first hearing these words weren't, just kicking back and reading some ancient literature. No way. They were facing a total existential threat. Just try to imagine a terrifying, unstoppable army camped right outside your city. That's the level of fear we're talking about here.
And right into that thick atmosphere of pure panic, Isaiah delivers this message. It was like a direct, divine answer to a very, very human fear. It was a call to find strength when it felt like everything, absolutely everything, was about to fall apart.
And check this out. That message wasn't just some casual, nice suggestion. It turns out that fear not is the single most repeated command in the entire Hebrew Bible. For a people standing on the brink of disaster, it was the most vital instruction they could possibly hear.
Okay, so a powerful message for a specific crisis. But how on earth did it manage to survive that moment and travel thousands of years to get to us? Well, a huge piece of that puzzle is the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls back in the 20th century. This was absolutely monumental. It instantly launched our oldest copy of Isaiah back by 1,000 years. And what it proved was the incredible integrity of the text, how meticulously it was preserved through centuries of being copied over and over, all by hand.
And what's really fascinating is how later generations didn't just copy the text, they creatively reused it. Take a look here. In the New Testament, John the Baptist takes this line from Isaiah, and with a tiny little shift in punctuation, he applies the voice of one calling in the wilderness directly to himself. It shows the text was treated as a living, adaptable document, not some dusty museum piece.
And this is where you can see Isaiah's influence just explode way beyond religion. Its language is literally carved into our memorials, like Yad Vashem in Israel. It's in our music, like the old hymn Beulah Land. It's even woven into our political history, like when George McGovern quoted it after losing a presidential election. It's really, truly everywhere.
So we've seen the history, we've seen the cultural impact, but what about us? What does this ancient book have to say for our own personal journeys? Let's dive into that.
Okay, so there's this really key Hebrew word in Isaiah, emet. Now, it often gets translated as truth, but it's so much bigger than that. Think of it as a faithfulness you can depend on, a reliability that has a proven track record. It's truth you can lean on because you can actually look back and see that it's held firm, generation after generation.
And the book constantly sets up this powerful contrast. Human life is described as hevel. It's like a puff of air on a cold morning. You see it for a second, and then it's gone. We're like grass that withers. But right up against that fragility, Isaiah places this idea of the eternal, dependable Word of God, something that stands forever. And this offers such a profound sense of comfort for the entire ride of life. It's this promise that you're not just ditched along the way. Even when we get older, when things start to fail, this text says, no, you will be sustained, you will be carried.
Which brings us to one of Isaiah's most powerful and famous metaphors. The idea is simple. We're the clay, and God is the potter. The pressure isn't on us to be a perfect, finished pot. The key, the entire point of the journey is just to stay teachable, to stay pliable, to remain open to being shaped into a work of art.
And so, that's the thought we'll leave on. This ancient text, it isn't just about history. It's a living message that's asking us to look at the shape of our own journey. It's an invitation to ask ourselves, right now, in the midst of all of life's pressures and joys, what am I becoming?